overlap in Canton, and then our county commissioner candidate is in Woodstock, but I will let them introduce themselves. But before that, because I know that our tech is still trying to finish getting set up, I'm going to plug the Cherokee Democrats for a second. So for those of you who may not know, or this is your first this is your first event, welcome. We are really glad that y'all decided to take time out of your Saturday morning to spend with us. We have lots of programs, including this one. We have lots of committees you can get involved in, including fundraising, get out the vote, which means you're helping candidates actually canvass, write postcards, phone banking, text banking, all of those things to maybe, hopefully, flip some of our seats blue. Because right now, none of Cherokee County is blue. We are fully represented by Republicans. And so this is the first time in a very long time that we've had a full slate of candidates running in our House and Senate districts in Georgia. And we even have a county commissioner running. So our hope is that as we continue to grow, that we can get more and more quality candidates running from the top of the ticket down to our local level. So we're Steven. Yeah. With that, there also are activities, there's service committee, and there is our overall membership committee. So Priscilla is our membership chair. She does a phenomenal job, and she asked me to make sure that you guys know that you can become a full-fledged member of Cherokee Democrats. Woo! To do that, you come talk to Priscilla, and the biggest thing that we need is a recurring donation. We are fully volunteer-based. None of us is getting paid to do this. We all take our time because we want to be here, and we want to help make our little county and our community better. And so the way we can have these things, have coffee and donuts, and I apologize that Duncan did me wrong today and didn't give us stirrers or napkins, but we at least have it. As well as be able to have our meetings at the Allen Temple Church on the second Thursday every month and support our candidates and everything. We're not made of money. We have to have people donate to us. And so we do have recurring donations available if you would like to. As little as $1 a month is really, really helpful. It goes a long way. We use that money not only to support the Cherokee Dems, but to support our candidates as well. They also have little cards that you can see Priscilla after to get. They have they're two-sided. One side is a QR to go donate, to become a full member and donate. Technically, bylaws say you don't have to donate to be a member, but that's kind of how we think about it, is if you donate, then you're in our roster. And then the other side is to sign up for our newsletter. So that is one thing. If you sign up for our newsletter, but you don't donate, it's two separate things. If you donate, you may not get our newsletter. So you have to sign up for both. Our newsletter comes out once a month, and it tells you everything going on with Cherokee Democrats, all of our events, if there's any post holder vacancies, what's going to go happening at our next monthly meeting. All of that happens through our newsletter, and we have a wonderful newsletter team that puts that together every month. And there's lots of ways to get involved. I don't want to take too much more of their time, and we're good with our live stream. So at this point, I'm going to introduce our candidates once again, allow them to introduce themselves and kind of why they're here and where their districts are. And then I've got a couple questions to break the ice, and then we'll open up to you guys to ask any questions. So I will start with Rob. Oh, sure.
Good morning. How's everyone doing? Good. That's it. I'm done. Always end with the applause. Like she said, my name's Rob Epstein. I'm not related to that other one. And I'm running in District 23, which is Canton. So we're a little south of my district right now. But if you ever go shop at Canton Marketplace, that's my district. If you ever go into downtown Canton, that's my district. Please come up, especially First Fridays. There's some amazing concerts happen up there, and the food scene, the restaurants are amazing. They just got a new Cajun place that opened up. It's really good. You should come up and try. I entered the race kind of the end of last year. I lost my wife after a 4-year cancer battle last May. Retired and moved up to Canton. Moved away from my network. I was living here in Woodstock, in the Hickory Flat area, and moved up to Canton. And for whatever reason, the Lord called me to run for office in a place that I didn't have any network. I didn't know any people. I think the reason he did that is because he knew that aside from that, I was just going to sit in my home and kind of sulk for a year, maybe after the loss. I wasn't going to make an effort, but he knew that if I was going to run for this seat, I was going to get out and meet people. I was going to ask people what was hurting, what they needed to live a better life, a more fulfilled life, a happier life. And that's what I did, and got out and started to meet people and listen to people and hear their stories. And I am super excited to have the opportunity to represent not just my district, but this county and the state of Georgia. I don't know if you know, we talk about how red this county is. It is the single largest collection of Republican voters in the state that remains, the densest population. If we don't even need to flip this county, I think we will flip seats, especially down here in Woodstock. There are a number of seats that are flippable. Danielle's got a really good chance. Dumont, I think Jason Tanner's got a great chance. I think Anthony, we haven't, stand up, Anthony, say hi. Another one of our candidates in the back. But if we can cross the 31% threshold in votes, then we will turn the statewide seats. So governor, lieutenant governor, secretary of state, those, if we can turn out, if we can vote, if we can talk to our neighbors, if we can maybe talk to those people that are independent or leaning Republican that are just a little pissed, right? That things aren't going great. If we can get them turned, then we can have a real impact on the future of this state. So I really hope all of y'all get out to your networks and talk to your friends and get them motivated to come out. And thank you for having me this morning.
Hey everyone, I am Steve Rogers. I'm running for. Oh, you don't have to tell me twice to stand up. I love to stand up and act out. That's great. Hey, can you hear me? Is this working? Yeah. All right. Just making sure, because I've had a few microphone problems in the past. All right. So, yes, I am Stephen Rogers. I'm your friendly neighborhood Captain America, and I'm running for County Commissioner of District 4. District 4 is right here in Woodstock. It's roughly about a few blocks over from Woodstock, and then all the way over to Town Lake and Centennial Lakes and Ackworth. So it's the whole south of the lake up to Costco, kind of southwest Cherokee County. And I am running because, I feel like my kids need me to. I do a lot of work with the PTA and with the Scouts, and I get to talk to a lot with the kids, and they're like, hey, what are you excited to grow up and be or do? And then just like, it all just kind of falls flat. A lot of them, are just like, well, I'll just kind of do whatever, and they don't seem particularly motivated anymore. But I'll be honest, I feel like this is my calling because I'm already involved in community so much at the commissioner level. Cares a lot about what happens on your community. I mean, it's a lot about what happens on your doorstep, what happens on your street corner, what happens behind your house, right? And such. This is where I believe this is where I'm called to make the most impact. And I believe this is where I could help the kids, you know, because I'm already involved with them, tell them how much of a future that they really do have to look forward to. I mean, we've got a great slate of candidates already going to work for us at the state and at the federal levels. I mean, like, no one's running here. This is where I'm going to be. I have an answer.
You better hear the question first. Can we all vote for that commission seat, or is it just restricted to your district?
It is restricted to my district. So if you want to help get the votes, I am definitely canvassing every weekend. I'm having a lot of fun with it. And I realize canvassing is a scary word, but if you did come to canvass with me, I'd make sure that, we'd go one-on-one to get you some training first, because the apps that we use are a little finicky sometimes. And we'd go to the easy places first, definitely solid Dems. And, this afternoon I'm hitting another 60 houses. And so that's just in my, that's in the Oak Grove district. And so that kind of gives you an idea about how many houses I have to hit before November. So I would love your help. But going back to me, I am a father of 3. I got Sarah in the back room, because she loves going to the library. my two boys, it's a Saturday morning, so they're probably at home eating pancakes, trying not to play too many video games, but it is what it is. But and then I moved to Woodstock here about 5 years ago. The kids attend Cherokee County schools, so love to get your support. That's who I am, and I guess I'll pass it on to Mr. Simmons.
Of course, I have to follow these two. Hi, I'm Corey Simmons. I'm running for State Senate District 21. That's here in Cherokee County, not Woodstock, but down into North Fulton, down to Avalon area. I'm doing this because it needs to be done. A lot of what the problems we're seeing, we have answers for. We've seen it. We've seen it work other places. We know what we need to do. I am not an eloquent man, but I do know a lot of data. I know a lot of statistics, and that informs every choice that I'm going to make in policy. I know how some of the things that we're trying to push have fallen flat. I see the targets we're aiming for not work. We talk about healthcare. That's a big one, both at the state and federal levels. We know how to fix that. We do. We just have to stand up and do it. And that's what I'm willing to do. Everything from infrastructure to education to roads, all of these things are easily addressed if we are willing to do it. We need all sorts of folks, all the way up in Ball Ground. There's the House representative there is Ryan Fountain. He's got great infrastructure ideas for building light rail. We've got Rob. He's focused on healthcare. We've got Stephen, who's doing all of the local level things. We've got Anthony back there. We have so many candidates who already have plans and ideas that we need to implement. It's just a matter of getting them done. And that's what I want to do, is to push everyone here together, to work together, to coordinate. And that is the word of the year. Even all the way down in the dome. I'm talking to the Democrat caucus for the Senate. That is the word of the year, is cooperation. We are trying to work together because we have to. I'm out canvassing. I'm going to be out a couple of days every week. I'll be working with the coordinated campaign and other House district representatives. We have to get the vote out. And if we do that, there's no telling what we'll be able to achieve. Thank you.
You say you're canvassing and talking to people.
Yes.
What are you hearing from them when you've got a county that is a majority voting GOP? Are they, pushing back and having dialogue with you? Are they just listening and hoping you'll go away? What is it that you're hearing when you're talking to people?
When I get the responses, it does come down to all the kind of basic things we're hearing. I think the one I've heard the most is infrastructure related and traffic related. That's what I hear the most of. And again, we have a lot of solutions to that. And when we built the express lane over on 575, I don't know how many of y'all listened to what the DOT was saying, but they were saying that after that express lane was built, our next option is to either invest in mass transit or building roads on top of other roads. And that comes directly from them.
But when you're talking about health insurance and costs, the economy to me is number one. Back in the 90s, I don't know, you guys maybe are too young to remember that or something, but it was, Carville said it's the economy, stupid, and in many ways I think it's still that, but we don't seem to be focusing on all the things that, not just at a federal level, but it starts at the state, where our government is not spending the money on things that make my life better. So how do you talk about that?
Well, a lot of it needs to be addressed from a financial angle. When we talk about healthcare, we talk about taxes and how much it costs, but the truth is that investing in healthcare is actually more beneficial and more fiscally responsible. It has a pretty decent ROI. And that's how it works. That's true of like SNAP benefits and housing benefits. People will say that it's giving money away, but that's not true. It actually helps our tax revenue increase because it alleviates the problems for the people who have the least amount of money. And that just creates a better economy for all of us. Oh. I think I'm caught. Do you want to take over?
I love all these questions. Can I ask everyone, if you have one, to go to this microphone in the middle so that everyone can hear it? That's all I'm going to say. You're welcome to continue asking questions. I love that you're just going right for it. And if Steven or Rob, you want to jump in after Corey, please go on for it.
No, we're going to let Corey keep talking. He's standing.
But that way so that our live stream folks can also hear and everyone else can hear in this room.
Well, you brought up healthcare, and I think each of the three of you at different levels is going to address that. Do you think that the state of Georgia needs to expand Medicaid?
100%.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, I think everyone agrees that that's step one, but it's not the only step.
Yeah.
Like, it's money that we're passing up. It's there. It's for the state. And, saying no to free money to help people be healthy, stay healthy, on principle is one of the most insane thing I think I could possibly imagine someone doing. But it can't just stop at expanding Medicaid. We don't need to wait for the federal government to move on some kind of, universal health care, Medicare for all, whatever we want to call it. There are examples across the world of countries doing this really well, and most of the countries in the world are exactly the same size as the state of Georgia. So if they can manage to do that for their populations, I think we can manage to do that here. So I'll be working on legislation and trying to get that adopted for the state to get. Look, if a society can't keep its population healthy, educated, fed, and housed, what are we doing? So that's where the work needs to be.
And to continue off of that, he mentions around the world. We don't have to take something, from England and just drop it into Georgia. We can adapt it. We can see what they've done right, what they've done wrong, and build on that. And that is the most responsible thing we can do. We have so many examples of things that are working and what those shortcomings are, that it's ridiculous for us to ignore that and try and reinvent the wheel. There's no need to reinvent the wheel for any of this.
At a commissioner level, it's not much I can do.
My question to all of you is, do you plan on going to the August 18th public input on data centers?
That was mine. That was mine. All right. So, yes, I am planning on going, and it's on my events at electstevenrogers.com. So if you can go look at it, you can see when and where the agenda is and such. Would love to see you all out there. We've been working with the board of commissioners on at least hearing us out, and we finally got through to Jeff, and Jeff actually made the final pitch for them. And so, I think they saw what's happening down in Cobb and Marietta, and they said, okay, we'll take at least a 30-day moratorium and see what the flavor is on that. They voted 5-0 on that, thank goodness, right? Went a few times that we actually agreed on something, some of that cooperation we've been wanting. Thank goodness, right? But yes, the October 18th is for the 180-day. What did I say?
October.
Sorry. Thank you for correcting me. Better fix now than later. But it's for a 180-day moratorium for the county to go and learn what data centers are and how to properly regulate them. So I'm already in contact with Jeff. I'm in contact with Sam Foster. I went to his meeting the other day. I've even spoken at the Woodstock City Council to match the county moratorium as well. They said no for now.
Really?
What
was the reason?
Apparently, I was just the only person there. We just need more political input.
There's just no space in the city of Woodstock limits for a data center anyway. So it's just
not exactly.
Really? Where is there?
All right, so there is some space around here up at Costco. There's some other light manufacturing down 92. And there is some what's in the proposed county bound or city boundary, that is also possible for a data center. So if you see a thing like a car wash or you see a storage unit going in, that's a place where they can stick a data center if they really wanted to.
It just
So-
doesn't seem like it's big enough. Like data centers are
Yeah,
massive.
data centers don't necessarily have to be big.
Massive.
Right. Even a small data center or server farm, depending on how you, because there are three different levels of data centers. You got your server farms, data centers, and your AI anthropomorphic kind of stuff, which is the real big doozies. And depending on which one goes in, depends on what they want to do with it. But yes, I mean, if y'all been following, we got Project Bunkhouse that's over in Bartow. That's the second largest data center in the state. I can't remember what the megawatt is off the top of my head, but I do know that we're likely going to see some electrical bill increase, and they're taking water out of Tuna to cool it down. And that's something we could stop here, at least stop the problem from hemorrhaging.
There
So-
is a good website from Georgia Tech called Epicenter.
Yes.
And you can go on there and look at all of the counties. You can go on. You can go on there and look at all the counties that have adopted ordinances and laws governing these data centers, from the small to the large. And it encompasses 15 different categories and subcategories after that. And I just don't think that we have the capacity in 3 days, because the 30 days will be up 3 days after the public input, to compile the necessary ordinances and laws to govern this. So I hope they do extend it, because it's going to take them a while to come up
Yes.
on everything.
Yes. Just please start attending commissioner meetings with me. Would love to see you there. Sometimes I'm there by myself, but I'd love to have someone to gossip with. Just starting to show up would be great. Letting them know, continuing to talk. There's always public input. You can always speak your mind to them and such, and that's always a great way to make sure we hold their attention. So, come on up.
Part of it was just to end in, last time that we had a lot of, what was the situation?
It was
before?
the election board.
Election board, right.
Yeah.
And they mounted a campaign, maybe you could start that, a campaign of emails that were sent out to all the commissioners, and it made a difference, just the emails. And the emails were strategic because there were several people in our group, and everyone had a different set of emails. So it didn't look like it was all cloned, but they actually responded and mentioned, it was the Latino Outreach and the GoTV group,
Yep.
That might be a strategy we need to implement ASAP for your cost.
Yes.
But that's not the reason I came up here. I had another
That's
question.
all right.
So is it okay? Is
Oh.
everybody okay with moving on from AI, or do we?
I said we can talk about the election board and how Weatherby.
Talk into the mic.
Yeah.
It's hard to hear.
One quick thing before we move on. At the local level, this commissioner level and these low levels of local government, very, very small numbers of people make a big difference. You can derail these projects with just single digits of turnout.
Mhm.
So please, 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 your voice really, really matters, okay?
Yeah, 6 o'clock Tuesdays at the Bluffs. Would love to see you there. Show up at 5:30 if you want to talk to them.
That's my district. I'll meet you for coffee before then.
Awesome. Turnout is the most important thing that we have to do between now and November 3rd in numbers that can't be denied. And Rob, you'd mentioned an interesting statistic about the turnout being at least 30% to be able to make an impact in blue. So several questions to this to all of you. Why has the turnout for the Democrats not been above 30% before? What is the strategy you all will implement to get the turnout over 30%, and how can we help you?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I have some theories on why turnout's been low, because there hasn't been anyone on the ballot to vote for.
Yeah.
So hopefully having some local candidates, that's not to say there haven't, like in the presidential years, of course, there's been someone on the ballot to vote for. But in these local elections, there's just not, we don't feel like our voice counts, right? One, there's just no Democrat on, like my seat has been uncontested for the better part of 15 years, 16 years. So yeah, I mean, who's going to be motivated to turn out to vote to pull a lever for somebody that they don't want in office? So hopefully having candidates on the ballot this year that are have similar voices to y'all's is motivating. But we need to get that word out. Y'all in this room knowing that is certainly not enough. So that's why I implore you to go talk to your network. We have an amazing county party. I don't know if y'all appreciate. I was at the Mid Fulton Democrats meeting this week. There's an amazing organization called Fighting 50. If you haven't heard about them or supported them, please do that. They are the reason we have so many Democratic candidates across the ballot in this state. Like without them, 70 candidates. So 70 previously uncontested seats now have quality Democratic candidates in them. Thanks, Anthony. So I was down at that meeting, and I would think Mid Fulton would have pretty strong turnout. Like their Democratic Party would be pretty strong. I'm saying, hand to God, we are better. We are larger. We are stronger. We are more motivated. Like the people, maybe there are 20 people at that meeting, maybe. So we have an amazing party, and we have an amazing organization around getting out the vote. So if you're looking for a place to volunteer, join that team, get plugged in, stay alert to what's happening, mobilize, get out and canvass or phone bank or postcard with these candidates. That's the best we can do. That's where we can make an impact to get people to turn out and vote. But I'll say this now. If we got every single registered Democrat out to vote, that is not enough to get me elected. It's not enough to get Corey elected. It's not enough to get, is it enough to get? It's not enough to get Anthony elected. So my campaign is focused on going into the more difficult conversations. So when I go out and canvass, I'm going to be knocking on independent doors. I'm going to be knocking on leaning Republican doors. I'm going to be knocking on doors where we don't know where the person's affiliation is. And I love those conversations. I have to be honest with you. The first yard sign, and this is no shade on a Democrat, but the first yard sign I had planted in my district was in a Republican household. Yeah. The second one was in a Republican household. When I retired, I joined Bridge Mill. Some of Bridge Mill is in my district. And the guys I golf with are supporters and are putting signs in their yard. So we have to create a bigger tent. We love to be the inclusive party. We cannot be exclusive to the voices that might not sound exactly like ours. We have to create a bigger tent. And that's what I'm out doing. It doesn't mean compromising our values. That's not the ask. It's just being willing to have those conversations and meet people where they are. And hopefully if we can meet people where they are, we can get them to where we want them to be. And that's the motivating source of my campaign and the work I'll be doing. I want to go back. Sorry, I'm hogging the time. Corey, did you mention the coordinated campaign? Yeah. So there is an organization with the state party that goes out and canvasses for the top of the ticket, ostensibly. Like they're focused on getting Ossoff elected. We won't hear about Warnock, not here, but Keisha Lance Bottoms. Before this year, or this election cycle, it was predominantly Ossoff trying to get volunteers to go knock doors in neighborhood X. And then if I wanted my lit dropped in neighborhood X, I'd go have to bug the same volunteers to go knock on the exact same doors. And it's terribly inefficient. It's a big ask for volunteers. It's not easy to get out on a hot day and go knock on doors. So the coordinated campaign this year is consolidating all of the lit. So they're going and representing and dropping lit for all the candidates, having conversations for all the candidates on the ballot. So we're not asking volunteers to go back to the same place over and over again. We can get it all knocked out with one visit. And that's going to be huge. And they are having conversations with Democrats. So strong Democrats, leaning Democrats. So that frees up. It's great for me because it frees up my time so I can focus on those conversations I was talking about before. And I'll stop talking now. Corey, you have anything? Okay.
Yeah, just like you said, just us being here, being motivated is, I think, going to be a big factor.
I'm sorry, Priscilla, that was your question. Was there anything I didn't touch on?
No, I would really kind of want to short more abbreviated answer to the same question from Corey and
Can I ask what we can do to affect the ICE presence, especially in Sunnyside, but in our county, because it's here and it's bothering some of our citizens?
Yeah, this is a tough one. Sheriff Reynolds is the guy who would be coordinating with ICE, and I've talked to him on a couple occasions. And talking with ICE, talking about ICE to him is basically just a non-starter. He's like, "Hey, I appreciate you. Thank you for coming out. Let's move on," kind of thing. It has been tough. But the main thing is, he likes to show up to these commissioner meetings too. And commissioners have to hear things about how, officer such and such wronged me. That's something we can rally around at the commissioner meetings, saying, hey, we don't want ICE in our community. If we could just get away with just doing just a bare minimum, which is what Marietta is doing, I mean, it wouldn't solve the problem, but at least would start setting the problem at least back a bit, right? We wouldn't have our officers coordinating with ICE anymore. We wouldn't have the officers telling them, where ICE could go finding some of these people at, I've spoken with the Latino community and, they are definitely scared. I've spoken with some businesses in the area that have lost business. And so I've tried to talk with the Republicans on that, saying, these restaurants downtown, these places downtown, like Home Depot is losing sales. These restaurants are losing sales and such. I'm like, this is going to hurt us financially. And they kind of scoff at me. I mean,
Does the sheriff require that a legal search warrant or a legal a document is available before they come in and cooperate about ICE? Or are they doing these fake
Administrative warrants.
yeah. I haven't been able to get that far in a conversation with them about it.
Yeah, I think that one of the best things we can do is be neighbors. Fulton's doing a great job. They're putting together what they call whistle kits that has literature about, what your rights are as a citizen that looks like an immigrant or an actual immigrant. I think that's something that we could do here in the county. I think the best thing we can do is stand up and support our fellow neighbors and the citizens in our district that are, on the receiving end of all of this nastiness, and make sure they're educated. And we have an amazing Latino outreach committee here in the county, if you want to get involved with them, that have been doing that hard work on getting into the communities and helping educate them on their rights and how to say no respectfully. So
yeah, Latino Outreach is handing out these red cards. If you've seen them, I have a few on me right now. If you want to pass them around, and only have just enough,
I've got one.
so you can at least read it. But yeah, I mean, it does it in English and in Spanish. This helps you and helps them as well. I can get you in touch with the person who has them. So if you want something to help spread out for yourself and your friends and your neighbors and such, just let me know. I'll get you in touch with the right person. So we're at least trying to do something. We'll make sure you're aware of your rights and the rights of others.
Can we hear from Anthony on the ICE issue since you're running for Congress?
he's running for state rep. He's a state rep as well. Yeah.
Not that ambitious.
Yeah. Hardin is our congressional rep, candidate.
So yeah, I have a lot to say on the ICE stuff. I actually have family that's detained, and it's part of the motivation to run. And it's really upsetting because it's something that it's not just the commissioners, the mayors could stop it if they wanted to. At the state level, we could stop it if we wanted to. And there's tons and tons of bills that already exist. They just need more support. So at the state level, there's all the stuff to stop them. That's, don't allow funding for the detention centers, require them to identify themselves, not wear masks, and have real warrants. They should have to follow the state and local laws, like law enforcement has to. And when I talk to the lieutenants and stuff of Cherokee County, they are also not thrilled about how this stuff goes. But their current stance is, well, we're going to follow what the state says. So as long as they are just going to use that as a cop out, we have to flip the state and change what the state says so that it can flow down to these levels. Although before that, it's just the guerrilla tactics that people are talking about.
Yeah, and we're only 10 seats away from flipping the state legislature. 10. Statewide, 10. And there are easily 10 to flip. I 3 right here in Cherokee County. We can contribute to that. And electing Keisha. Look, if Jackson gets elected and the state legislature passes something that's going to curb ICE, he's going to veto it. He's not going to sign that. So we need to get Keisha Lance Bottoms into the governor's seat and flip the legislature. And this is the year to do that.
It's also worth noting that a lot of lawsuits have been filed against ICE. There are thousands of cases out right now, and hundreds have been resolved for them conducting unconstitutional raids and other such things. We have community outrage. We also have legal footing, but what we need is the public voice to come up and elect us so that we can make this happen.
Yeah.
I'll ask a question. Why not? Okay. What is the, let me think how to word this correctly. We know that infrastructure and traffic is a huge thing. What at your level would you want to do in your, if you can, create your legislation for it, what would that look like?
Fund MARTA. So every year MARTA releases a map that makes me have a certain reaction. It's amazing. It's light rail, it's heavy rail. It comes out into the it connects Metro Atlanta in a way that Metro Atlanta has needed for the past 2 decades at least. So what we can do at the state legislature level is fund MARTA so they have the budget to go make that a reality. Such a huge economic boon. We all know that mobility equals economic opportunity. Like right now, my job is, especially with gas prices, where I can look for a job is kind of limited to where I can get to for a cost that makes sense. If MARTA can help me get to more of Metro Atlanta, then especially those in the south of Atlanta will have more opportunity to find a better job and increase their standing. For no other reason than that, it makes sense to fund MARTA, just from the economic growth and opportunity perspective. But yeah, I would 100% give MARTA not a blank check, but a pretty big one.
And building on that, the AJC ran an article about a month ago now about how Seattle's public transit and Atlanta's public transit started at about the same time with about the same budget. But Seattle's went really well, while MARTA is, well, MARTA. So again, we don't have to reinvent the wheel. We've seen it work other places. We already have an outline for what we need to do. I mentioned Ryan Fountain because it's relevant. Up in Ball Ground, we have a large marble supply. If we were to build a centralized station, we could revitalize North Cherokee by building with that marble while building our transit. That increases our community support, it increases profitability across the board, and it just helps all around. There's really no reason not to be doing this, especially because for every train or bus we put in, we take a handful of cars off the road. No amount of Waymo is going to take cars off the road.
I'd love to see fast, maglev trains across these major corridors, across the eastern seaboard and across. I'd love to not wait in a line at Atlanta Hartsfield Airport, just to get in the air and then get back down. If my brother lives in Charlotte, I'd love to be able to hop on a maglev's, bullet train and get up to Charlotte in 2 hours as opposed to a flight. So.
And that's actually part of the plan is there's a whole thing we're already working on building to build a high-speed train from Atlanta to Savannah to help increase tourism and to fund it. We have a whole lot of what we know we need to do. It's just hard to convey that in a short time because there is so much. Sorry.
Yeah, it's all right. So at the commissioner level, it's a little different. So I would have to get cooperation from different areas. So just down here at Town Lake and 575, you know how many different ownerships of land and of the traffic lights there are right there? It's 3. You got the state right there at 575. So you got that towards the 2 lights on the right and 1 light on the left. And then it turns into some county and then some city. And so that's partly why you have such a problem going down that road, and the lights don't necessarily always sync up. In some areas it does sync, because that's where the city actually got it done, and then the county does a little different. And it's like, just cooperate, everybody.
There's that word again.
Yeah. And that's one thing that we could do, is try to get just get some more cooperation at these little levels to really find some areas we can smooth it out. Also, we could do more developer impact fees. And so when we put, another 300 development and another 400 development on the same 2-lane road, developers could pay into the impact fees fund that we could take from and say, all right, we've got these communities coming in, let's expand some of these roads while they're being built. So that's something we could do here locally. Thank you.
Okay, I'll ask more questions. Great. Education is a very important topic. Our public schools have already seen some decrease in funding because of a school voucher bill that happened a couple years ago. What could you do in your power as either a commissioner or a state legislator to help bring back that money towards public schools and fully fund them?
I mean, the voucher program goes away. Number one. And we all know why that doesn't make sense, right? Does anyone need a refresher on why vouchers makes no sense at all? So we're okay, we're good. And there's some adjustments that could be made to the QBE formula. If you're not familiar, the state has a formula that determine how schools get funded. All the money goes into the central pool and gets fed to school districts. So there's some equality across some, lower economic strata schools versus. So, for example, North Fulton doesn't have the best schools because they've got the most economic or the wealthiest individuals living in that county. So some adjustments made to the QBE. I'll say the state's been doing a better job of more fully funding public schools using that formula. My kids, I have a 19-year-old and a 21-year-old. They both graduated from River Green High School just up the road. And they got an amazing education. Cherokee County schools, I think, are some of the best in the state. I think we could teach a lot of counties how to do school well. We've done a really good job. I've been a really proud consumer of those school systems. But there's always room for improvement. I think every dollar we drop into public education is, Statman's 3, 4 of economic output. So it's a really good investment, the best investment we can make is outside of healthcare. I'm partial to healthcare. So yeah, chunk vouchers. Rich people don't need savings to put their kids in private school.
At the commissioner level, there's not much I can do at the big state level. But what we can do is work with these developers, because sometimes developers will give us a little bait, I guess you say, to encourage us to improve a project. Like, all right, well, instead of giving it to, because they like to do a police officer, they like to give a house to a police officer. Like, why not give a house to a teacher here in the county, right? I mean, get some more affordable housing in the county so the teachers can live here, right? So, I mean, that's just a couple of ways that we could do that. I mean, a teacher that lives here, is going to stay here, is going to make a bigger impact here. So that's something that we can at least do on that level. Can't do much about their pay, but, as always, the Board of Education, it's just like a commissioners meeting. Please show up. Please let them know that you want teachers to be paid. That's one of the biggest things whenever I go into PTA. It's like, thank you for covering this for me. Thank you for giving me the funds for this, because, that's something they always lack. Thanks.
It's worth bringing up one of the Republican platforms at this point, because they are talking about cutting property tax. Property tax goes directly into education a lot. Again, the folks down in the Dome and who work on the budget and the policy are saying that in order to cover that shortcome, we're looking at doubling our sales tax. Let you take a second with that one. We need to, I know that property taxes have their own set of issues, and we should look at homestead exemptions and all that, but we cannot do that at the expense of our education system.
Yeah,
it is so
wealthy, giving wealthy landowners a break, so we can tax I have
tax the renters.
I have thoughts on
Yeah,
the
no.
lottery. Look, the lottery's done a lot of good on helping kids get to school, but my kids did not need help financially to get to school, and I didn't need the poorest among us buying a lottery ticket every day to help fund my kids' education. So, yeah, we don't need to be redistributing money to cover people who are doing well.
Speaking of the lottery, until last year, the lottery contributed more to our Georgia state budget than corporate income tax did. So
And that is predominantly, lottery is predominantly lower middle income, like people contributing to that. How crazy.
I have a question, follow up about education.
Hey, Randy.
Do we think, the three of us here that are candidates, do we think that public money should be only used for public schools and never given to private or religious schools at all? That's the first part. Second part is we have a ridiculous law in Georgia that says you can't teach subjects or you can get fired. There's hardly a day goes by that I read the newspaper that there's a story in there that if you brought that story into your school as a teacher, you could be liable for losing your job. That is stupid. Are we all three in favor of getting rid of that law?
Do we want to say it in unison?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, and librarians shouldn't be afraid to do their job either.
Oh,
so.
absolutely. It's worth pointing out that most book bans, that's not directly what you were talking about, but most book bans are pushed by people who've never actually read the book. Like that's actually a study that's been done. Most book bans are pushed by people who've never read the book they're trying to ban. Jimmy else have anything for?
Anthony's got something? Yeah.
I think I would love to see incentives aligned so that the lawmakers are encouraged to put their kids in public schools and their grandkids in public schools. I'll bet you they improve.
There is a saying that a government is at its best when its public officials use its public services.
Yeah, I get them off whatever health plan they're on. I actually don't know. I don't know what health plan. I know
Public
that
health care,
U.S.
education,
Congress
public
people have their own
transportation.
health plan that's distinct from Social Security, that's distinct from Medicare, that's like its own thing. So do Native Americans. They have their own healthcare system too. But no, use what everybody else is using 100%. One more, Randy?
Another question is, can you, each of you, respond to this? Does the American dream mean that you should get stinking rich and that's all it is?
No. I personally believe there shouldn't be such thing as a billionaire. If your income hits a certain level, then 100% of it's going to go to the country.
Socialism.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm a social
look,
liberalist.
I'll blame a lot on Reagan, and this is one of them. Like when he fucked up the tax rates and cut that top tax rate, it wasn't. I mean, people complain, well, who should give 92% of their income to the government? It's like it's not the point of it was not to get more money. It was to set a cap on salaries, so that they would invest that money. Companies would invest that money back into their companies, improving productivity or paying their workers better. So the instant he cut that, we saw the income disparity get huge, and now. As a Starbucks CEO is 1,000 to 1, like the pay disparity between their line workers and him is 1,000 to 1, I think is the number. It's insane. So yeah, no, the American dream is leaving a country that's better for your kids. It's how I've always interpreted it. If I can leave my kids to where they're in a better place than I was, that they have an opportunity to earn better, to raise their kids, to have better educated kids, to have healthier. That's the dream for me. And I don't want to mean that predicates you have kids, but we should just be leaving a community that is better for the people that come behind us, not better for the people that already have enough.
I think it's also worth pointing out that if it wasn't money, we would recognize it as a hoarding issue. If you look at some of these people, they're not very happy. The other thing to point out is that Massachusetts recently, a couple of years ago now, implemented a millionaire tax, and it has been doing very well.
Yeah, to me, the American dream is whatever you want it to be. I know some people want to live in a condo and not have to deal with having a yard. That's great. Are you happy? You got food? You know, you're able to go out to a couple concerts a year. Have at it. That's partly why I'm getting involved in the community because I just want to see everybody happy, and I'm tired of seeing people who aren't anymore. People who are frustrated and such. I want to be able to say that I am working for you, that I am doing my part to make sure that you can live your American dream.
Oh, and yes, let's get our public servants back to serving the public. One of the first bill I'll submit, if elected, is a change to the corporate code here in the state of Georgia that will disallow any corporation resident here in Georgia from participating in the political process, period. It's like a one-line change to the corporate code. We don't need to wait for Citizens United to get overturned. We can do it here in the state. There are other states that have similar legislation. So let's get companies out of our politics so our politicians can serve the people. Hi, Robin.
I'd like you to talk about the push-pull about affordable housing. I live in a 55-plus community all the way north in Canton, and they do not want anything around them to be built. And yet I've been to different meetings where people who were a lot younger than us in my community are saying, my kids can't live in Cherokee County because nothing's affordable for them. So if you've got any ideas about that and want to speak about it.
Yeah, I think we probably all have really big thoughts on that. So when I was researching this issue, I discovered there's a subdivision in my district that I might get this a little off, but I think it was like 92% investor owned houses. And so I had a home in Woodstock where I raised my family. I moved out when my wife died and sold that house. And I told my realtor, it's only a family that's going to come live in this house, and hopefully one that's got kids they want to raise in these schools. Investors come in, pay with cash, so they don't have to worry about an appraisal coming in to make sure the price is right compared to the comparables in the area, and they are artificially jacking up the price of real estate. Stop that. That there's no need for that. So I would ban investor, or at least limit investor real estate purchases. BlackRock doesn't need to own our community, families do.
Yeah, that's great. Something we've been trying to do here at the commissioner level is actually just build attainable housing is the word down here. We haven't built attainable housing since 2018. They keep proposing it, they keep trying to do it, but developers keep, angling a little different. Like, we're not going to do that again. We're just going to do this to maximize our profits. And so what we can do is stop denying those variances, because we can put that in the zoning. Say, hey, if you want to build this property, in the zone, you have to build at least 20% attainable housing, right? That's something we can do, and something I've tried to talk to them about, but, they say, well, we're just going to approve another 20 variances. Like, if you want to know what the next 5-stack apartment is going to go in, is Old 92 and Priest Road out 92. That's been going on for a while. They'll probably vote on that. Try to vote on that August 4th if you want to show up and say you don't want to see that. But yeah, they're going to put 5-stack apartments on people's front lawn, just about. But yeah,
I'd actually love y'all's thoughts on something that I've been thinking about legislatively. Incentivizing. So there are great organizations like Habitat for Humanity that do a good job of building attainable housing. And there was a bill that was passed this year that give them a break on state and local sales tax for any of the materials that go into the construction of those homes. So now they can essentially, for every 6 homes they build, they can build another one for free because of this tax savings. I'd love to see private developers and builders involved in that. So if they are willing to build a certain amount of inventory of their homes below the current medium home price or some floor, that they get a similar rebate on the state and local sales tax that goes into the materials of the homes. What do y'all think about that? Yeah. Okay.
I'd be curious to see how a empty unit tax would go over. I don't know what the ratios are right here, but making sure that everybody is in the units we already have seems like a good first step, just to make sure that we're.
Go a little bit into that. They take that as a tax write-off and leave it sitting there with nobody in it.
Yeah, they will take and leave these units empty because it's profitable to them. I think that we need to look at making sure that that's just not happening. There's a bunch of, little bureaucratic moving parts to that, but just making sure these homes are full is an excellent first step. Yeah, it would drop the prices as well, yes.
I volunteer for Habitat for Humanity in Cherokee County, and we just finished a home for a disabled veteran. But what we have found is to build in Cherokee County now is going to require $340,000 for these people to get in.
Like as a land cost or as a material?
It's the land cost. The material cost is obviously factored in. However, it is the land cost. And also opposition from neighbors from where we built was Reinhardt Parkway.
Mm-hmm.
And Laurel Canyon raised holy you-know-what for these 4 homes for people to live in on a really not a place where anybody would pick to build a home.
Right.
But that's what we had. That's what we worked with. So if what you say, if you can get that sales tax, done, it would help immensely.
If I could wave a wand and just make everyone more empathetic, I would do that too. Yeah. I mean, it's true. Homeowners want their property price to increase, but then they're going to go complain about their property tax bill going higher because now they can't afford it. But,
$40,000 home is detrimental to the neighborhood.
It's not ever going to be considered a comparable to the home that I'm in. That's, a $400,000 home. They're not going to be looking at the, 900 square foot home or whatever compared to my 3,600. It's NIMBY has always been kind of the bane of progress and development in rural subdivisions. So, I don't know how you get around that, but there are things we can do legislatively, like adjusting the tax code and improving incentives to make sure that we have a higher volume of affordable homes, attainable homes in the county and in the state. Yeah. Linda.
Well, I'm actually. Again, I want to have a question. This is an observation, and it's something I'm so excited about. You guys, all our candidates, the kind of knowledge base you bring to this is just incredible. And I'm so proud that you're running for us, and I want to get to the people who need to hear from you. Is there any way we can get more people aware of the difference of the quality of the people that are running as Democrats is incredible, and it's obvious. That's all.
Thank you. Our biggest fan, y'all, Linda.
It's more of an observation. I just moved here a couple of years ago from Dallas, Texas.
Welcome.
But there's a grocery store chain in Houston, and it wanted to move on up to Dallas, and the big corporations like Kroger and all those did everything they could to keep it out. They just opened it a mile from where I was. It has now got more people there than anywhere else, and it's employee owned. That's why they were trying to keep it out. Mm-hmm. My observation is we do have great quality candidates. We have a value system, and what we are asking people are to pass legislation and policies that actually make our lives better. But the problem is we have a GOP that looks at everything that we do as an expense, not an investment. Right. And I think we have to do a better job of how we sell the message. We need to be good salespeople, and right now, I think that's a big problem.
I couldn't agree more. I think the Democratic Party has always had a messaging problem across the board. Pick a policy. The GOP has always had a kind of a better, and from my perspective, and I'm going to hang this on me, because I am a bit of a policy wonk and I like to get into the details. you kind of can't get into the details and craft a short, clever soundbite message. So, and I think that applies to a lot of Democrats. Like, we like to get in the details. We like to be very specific. That specificity gets in the way of just crafting a nice generalized message that's going to play well with a general, broader audience. So yeah, I think that's some shackles that the Democratic Party needs to shed pretty quick to get ahead of the GOP in messaging and some of this. And I agree, it's about values. It's about standing up for the things that we believe in and understanding that a dollar spent on healthcare is going to keep somebody healthy and keep them working longer and being more productive to society longer. That's an investment. It's not it's not a handout, it's a hand up. And we just need to do a much better job of communicating that.
About expanding Medicaid, and then you'll have another message say, but this is all poor, it doesn't affect me. They don't look at it, hospitals closing in rural areas that mean people have to travel so much more. So, and instead of talking about it from an expense perspective, looking at it as it's giving jobs for the people in the smaller areas and accessibility to healthcare. I don't know, it just seems to me we need to emphasize a different message.
100%. Yeah. And I've been, as I mentioned, I have to get out into circles that maybe a Democrat wouldn't normally run in, right? So I'm at the chamber, I'm at local business clubs, talking to business owners to understand kind of their stories. And I heard from one lady that wanted to start a business, but she couldn't because of healthcare. Like, she has to stick with employer-provided healthcare. So I did some digging. Aside from funding, which is getting better, the second biggest hurdle to new business development is healthcare. People feel like they can't get out of their employer-provided plans and have a decent plan in the public marketplace and take on that risk, especially if they have a pre-existing condition. So if we can solve that problem, imagine the small business growth that we would see just explode in this society if people didn't have to worry about healthcare.
I 100% agree that messaging is more difficult, and I know that I struggle with that because I do have very data-driven policies and standpoints, and it's hard to overcome sometimes and make that emotional connection when you see the outcomes, and that's where you incline to talk about. And I am very much trying to work on that myself.
You gave me an idea for a t-shirt, though. Billionaires have a hoarding problem. Isn't
that great? Yeah.
I love it.
I think one of the issues that the Democrats have always had is we're always on the defensive. We have to stop that and be on the offensive. We can't yell back at them.
No, it doesn't mean fighting. It means standing up and using your voice. Yeah.
Issues that are important and not going into as much detail, but say, you're wrong on that. It will bring more money in. Yeah. You don't educate your kids, they become thieves and bandits and robbers and join gangs later on, and then you have more of an expense and a terrible place to live, and it will just grow and grow.
Right. I'm either going to give someone $1 to keep them healthy now, or I'm going to spend $5 in the emergency room to fix them later.
Stop being so defensive, because that's how we come across. And defensive looks weak,
yeah.
And that's what I think people see in the GOP.
Yeah, and I'll tell a personal anecdote. So whenever I would have conversations with people with kind of a differing opinion, the first question, and I'm sorry if you've heard me talk about this before, but it's really on my heart. The first question I would ask people is, why do you think that way? This was old me. And the instant I would ask somebody that, you could see the wall build. Like immediately, like, oh, what, do you think I'm an idiot? What, I don't have the same information? I'm not as educated as you are? Like, it immediately creates barriers to an honest conversation about the issue. So I changed my tactic. And I now ask, why do you feel that way? Like, what is it about your lived experience that has you feeling that way about that topic? And now I'm curious about them. I'm curious about their life and what they've been through. And now I can understand where they are, because if I'm, at the end of the day, I'm trying to get them to point B. And if I don't know where point A is, ask any GPS to get you to point B without telling them where you're starting. See how good that goes, right? You have to know where they're coming from. And the instant you know where they're coming from, then you can build a route. You can create a conversation. You can have an honest, empathetic dialogue with them. So I was guilty of that in the past. And it comes down to empathy. Like I just wasn't being empathetic. I wasn't opening my ears to hear what their life was. So
doing good for humanity is the best thing to do.
Doing the right thing's never the wrong thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the answer to a lot of a lot of the backlash you get from the GOP candidates and the GOP party in general. I think that just needs to be the terminology used, is doing good for everyone and being empathetic and helpful to society is a good place to start, and you're not starting there.
Right. I mean, this other GOP people will see like, oh man, we can't register votes. You know, I might be missing out on something, and I feel like that's definitely something that they feel, because it's the same thing I've noticed with Rob, is like a lot of these people just say I feel, and I just feel, and it's like, okay, and so we kind of have to, like you said, get away from Star Trek and start thinking more. Um, what's a famous reality TV show that's on right now? Like, is
Love Island.
So yeah, we gotta simplify our messaging a little bit, because you know, I've talked to people and I've tried to bring up data points in this, and I literally have a backpack where I carry some of the studies with me, so I can just flip to it because I love my notes. Just bring up, say, hey, this is it, but it still didn't particularly matter. I brought up the 3 data points, that this and that, and it's like, I don't care what you say here. This is how I know it should be. And I was like, okay. And I was like, all right, we have to think about it.
And that
again.
can't cause us to shut down, right?
Yes.
That can't cause us to be like, well, okay, your feelings don't matter. Here's the data. Here's the facts. They do. My feelings matter. Your feelings matter. Of course, our feelings matter. It's how we live in this world. It's how we communicate and relate in this space. So we can't be afraid to be open about and listen to where other people are coming from. And that's why I have Republican houses with my yard signs, why I have donations from traditional GOP voters, because empathy will get you a big check.
You know, that's one thing, when people have come to my house, the one thing, to me, the best question is, tell me what matters or what is important to you at this point in time. Tell me what you think. Then I feel like somebody's listening to me, but then have your 4 or 5 points ready to show why the Democratic candidate is better, because this is how it's going to get what you want.
Yeah.
And by asking them what is important to them or what concerns they have, they feel listened to. Like you said, empathy is a big part of that.
100%. And you have to build a bridge. If there's a chasm, you're not going to jump across it. You got to build a bridge, step by step. And that starts with yes-anding somebody's conversation, not, oh, I heard the thing I hate and I'm going to go pick at that and I'm going to create more division. It's, no, I heard something that we maybe agree on. Let me lean into that. And then maybe that will draw them to the other side of the bank with me.
Yeah, it's a difficult thing to navigate for sure, because a lot of what we are facing is not really rational, and it is very feelings based. Like there's more than one candidate on the Republican side right now talking about immigrants and driver's licenses, and they're using their driver's licenses to vote, which is objectively just not true.
Right.
But you can't really debate that. And that's such a hard thing to just kind of, why do you feel that way? How do we get around that? And how do you connect there? And that's something I know I'm trying to work on real hard, because that's how you convince them.
I'm not going to say I've been 100% successful, because, to be honest, some of these people do live in an alternate reality. I mean, that's just the best way to put it. And we're not behavioral health experts, I guess. But we do the best we can. And it's one of those areas that we do need help on. Going out and canvassing, having these conversations are going to help flip some of these, moderate Republican kind of people, because, they're going to have to face up and actually come back to reality eventually. And the longer they're away, the harder the impact's going to be. So that'd be a great way you can help our campaigns, is getting out there, talking to people, having conversations with your neighbors. I know talking politics with your neighbors is always a touchy subject, but honestly, I think that's something that our society missed, is getting away from that, because you don't have to identify yourself by how you think. You can identify yourself more objectively by what you do. Because tomorrow you may feel like your favorite color is purple or your favorite color is yellow. I mean, these things kind of change and such, but what you do, you like to, I'm Unitarian, so I like to go to church with Peggy. Where's Peggy? Oh no, Peggy's out. Oh no. Ah, it's all right. But you know, I like to work on my cars, like to do stuff with kids, and that stuff doesn't change. And that's where I try to find some kind of common ground to at least start to have these conversations with. So just be ready for it when you get there. Randy?
Now, one more question. The three of you are gonna be serving, two in the legislature, one at the county level, maybe another one in the legislature. I've been in Georgia most of my life. I was born here in Georgia, and I've seen the kind of corruption we've had, but it's never been like it is now. We have a man now who is the lieutenant governor who is also a fake elector.
I
We have him
know,
leading
yeah.
the Senate, who have then gone across the state and attacked every DA because the district attorney in Fulton County charged crimes that we know were committed, and they basically made it all go away. We have a governor who gives away our taxes way long before it's ready to be done, who has a huge slush fund and then sends out every year, here's how much you got to cut your budget. So that we can cut off all taxes it's just, the corruption to me is enormous. What can you do at your level if you're elected to address the corruption in our state government?
It starts with winning. So I'm going to try to win, and then we'll go from there. Yeah, I mean, obviously there's laws we can enact to, as ethics controls and checks on stuff like that. But it's got to start with getting these candidates into office. So let's get out. Let's vote. Let's talk to our neighbors. Let's canvass, make some phone calls, send some postcards, talk to people. Don't be afraid to have conversations. Let's get people out to vote this cycle.
All right, well, it is 11:53, so we're going to wrap up. So thank you all for coming out. I'm going to let the candidates tell you how you can get involved with their websites. I know they all have literature over here, so please grab that. Get involved with them because we have so many quality candidates. You got 3 today. And the next 2 coffees and conversations will show more of them. So September 5th is the next Coffees and Conversations. It'll be at RT Jones in Canton. And that one's going to look slightly different because the orientation committee is going to do a presentation very quickly before they have a candidate forum about understanding government and how to get civically engaged. So that's my committee. So I will be presenting that with some of my committee members. Then Anthony Arguez for HG21 and a couple others will have opportunity to answer questions, and you get to know them. And then October 3rd, here at Woodstock Public Library, we go back and forth between those 2 locations. You will have the opportunity to hear from the candidates in the Woodstock Cherokee area. So it's House District 44, which is Danielle Bell. House District 46, Dumont Walker, House District 20, Jason Tanner, and Senate District 32, Michael Heddig. So you will have an opportunity to hear from most of the Cherokee candidates in the next, you've heard from 3, you'll get opportunity to hear from the other ones in the next 2 Coffees and Conversations. So we'd love to see you there. Our next monthly meeting is August 13th at 7 p.m. at Allen Temple AME. And I'm sure we'll be hearing a report from the state party convention that's happening literally right now in Savannah. That's why some of our attendees aren't here today, our normal ones. But we thank y'all for coming. I'm going to let them close it out and then have a good Saturday.
You don't have anything else to say, really?
Can you believe it?
Yep, so appreciate y'all coming out today. Remember, I'm District 4, which is Southwest Cherokee County. I always love your help. We have a quick chat over here next to my table of awesomeness. Love to get your support, get out and canvas, or at least spread the literature out, start having those conversations. If you can't get out and spread, there's always social media. I've just elect Stephen Rogers all over the board. So that's all. I mean, it's pretty easy, straightforward kind of stuff. And it is spelled just like Captain America, so it makes it easy to remember. So whenever you see me up on the big screen, yes, that is me, making my community more better. So we'd love to see you. Love to get your support. Thanks.
Yeah, for sure. We really need you guys to spread the word that people have a choice this time, and we need to make that choice. I'm straightening out my canvassing schedule, so that's not quite finished yet, but I'm working with the coordinated campaign on that. Hopefully we'll be doing that a couple of times a week. I'll have that on my website as soon as I know for sure. And anything y'all can do, volunteer, just talking, just spread the word. That's what we really need, is for people to know that they have an option this time.
Yeah, so my campaign's not going to start heavy campaign until the weather gets a little cooler. At least from a knocking doors perspective, we're like late August, early September, and then October, obviously. So we're in fundraising season. Every dollar is going to help me keep volunteers kind of taken care of. When they do help out, it's going to put another stamp on a postcard. It's going to fund another town hall or a meet and greet at a house. So any amount you can donate is going to be so huge in making sure that I have a budget going into the end of August through the election to get the word out and go knock on as many doors and have as many conversations as I can. So any amount that you can offer would be exceedingly helpful. I'd be forever grateful. Thanks so much.